Children's Fairyland first opened in Oakland, California in 1950. Fairyland references stories like Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, The Wizard of Oz, and Snow White, among many, many others. In fact, Walt Disney, who we know from everything Disney, took a lot of his ideas from Fairyland, and even hired Fairyland's first director to come over to his Disney park. A lot of people don't realize that Fairyland came before all the other big parks, and has maintained its originality for the last 71 years, which is pretty incredible. Frank Oz, who was the puppeteer for Cookie Monster, among many others, was one of the artists that helped design parts of Fairyland. Doesn't that sound like a really cool job to have when you grow up? And today, in 2021, Fairyland is still here, full of magic and fun after 71 years. Today we're at Children's Fairyland in Oakland, California. It's the first day that it's open during COVID, and there's a lot of cool things to see, so come check it out with us. Can you hold up your key and show us our key? Get a Fairyland key? Pretty awesome. Marching. Hi. Ooh, what do you see?
Bunny and the Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter looks like he's wearing a dress.
Yeah. Cool. Pretty awesome.
Oh, I got him from here.
Pretty cool.
Oh, a male. Wow. Your poor aunt has died. So sorry. She left you her pet. The pet will come soon. Oh, we need a new pet. Guys, new pet coming. New pet. Wow. Oh, no. What's that? Oh, no. That's not your pet. Oh. Oh, my gosh. Oh, we better go. Go. We better go. Go. Oh, hide. Do. No! Don't go in, no! Dragon! What? Dragon! What? No dragon? Oh, baby! Huh? What? Oh, I love you.
Thumbelina. Once upon a time, there was a woman who was very sad because she had no children. One day, she went to see a witch who sold her a tiny seed and told her to plant it at the bottom of a pot. Shortly afterwards, a pretty flower grew, and the woman saw amongst the petals a teeny-weeny little girl who smiled up at her. The delighted woman called her Thumbelina and made a bed for her out of a walnut shell, and a rose petal became her bedspread. One night, a fat toad saw the tiny girl sleep and thought her so lovely that he wanted her to marry his son. He seized her and took her off to the marsh where he lived. His son was delighted to have such a dainty little girl for his fiancée. The two toads put Thumbelina down on a water lily leaf and went off to get a place ready. When Thumbelina woke up, she was astonished to see water all around her, and she began to cry for her mother. Fortunately, the fishes, who knew what the old toad was planning, cut the stem of the water lily, and the leaf drifted gently to the water's edge. A butterfly saw the little girl on her makeshift raft and pulled her along further still. Then a large winged beetle lifted Thumbelina very carefully and put her down in a meadow amongst some flowers. There Thumbelina became less nervous, and she began to make plans. She lay down on a heap of straw and ate honey from the flowers. When she was thirsty, she drank the morning dew from the petals. Alas, the good weather was over, and the leaves turned yellow and fell. Soon the cold winds and snow arrived. Little Thumbelina walked until she came to the house of a kind little mouse who welcomed her into his dwelling. The mouse had a neighbor, a short-sighted mole. One day, when paying him a visit, Thumbelina saw a poor little swallow stretched out frozen. Her tender heart was sad, so she returned with a warm coverlet, which she placed over the bird, and then she lay down beside him and gave him a kiss. All at once she seemed to hear a faint noise. Tick-tock, tick-tock. It was the bird's heart, which had started beating again. "I shall never forget what you have done for me," said the swallow to Thumbelina. "You have saved my life. How happy I shall be to fly back into the blue sky." "Alas," said Thumbelina, "it is winter, and you must stay here in the shelter until the fine weather returns. Until then, I will bring you something to eat." Days and weeks went by, and when spring returned, the swallow flew off into the mild, warm air. The two friends were sad to part, but Thumbelina didn't wish to leave the little mouse who had been so kind to her. Nothing much happened until the time came when the mole decided to get married, and he thought Thumbelina would make a nice little wife. He was rich but very fat and ugly, and Thumbelina didn't want to live underground in a molehill where the sun never shone. The mouse wanted Thumbelina to accept the mole, and in spite of her repeated refusal, she was told to get ready for her wedding day. The mouse decided that the marriage should take place the next day. Thumbelina went out amongst the flowers and burst into tears. "I have only one true friend, and that is the swallow. But the swallow isn't here, and I'm going to marry the mole and live underground." And the little girl leaned over a red flower to smell its perfume. Just then she looked up into the sky and saw a swallow which came nearer and nearer. It was her friend. "Cheer up," said the swallow when he'd heard her sad story. "If you like, I'll take you with me to a sunny land, and you will never see those wretched friends again who prefer to live in darkness." Thumbelina did not hesitate, and she climbed on the bird's back and fastened herself with a long sash. Off flew the swallow. "Hold tight, we're going up into the sky." The little girl marveled at all the wonderful sights she saw. Countries, lakes, plains, and mountains. "There's an old castle where I nest," said the swallow, "but you might not like it, so I'm going to drop you into a flower which can be your home." The bird put her down onto a beautiful marguerite with white petals and yellow center, and he flew off towards the castle. Just then Thumbelina saw, on a leaf, a little goblin with gossamer wings. "Would you like to marry me?" he asked. "Willingly," replied the little girl, who thought him very handsome and nice. She felt herself growing wings, and the goblin, taking her by the hand, led her off into the air. Every day they flew happily around in the sky, together with their friend the swallow, who often came to join them. Wow, that was a really cool story. But it was also a much older story. So I just wanted to remind you guys that you don't have to get married to find happiness. Thumbelina could have found happiness without having to marry the goblin, but sometimes when you have an older story, it likes to end like that. Next time, we'll make our own version. Share your art. Cheyenne, age 5. Beautiful Cheyenne. I love it. Vela, age 5. I love how you fill all the space. So many cool details. Maddie, age 6. Wow, somebody watched my castle episode. Send your drawings to Nikki Harris, P.O. Box 05 13190, County Route 123, Henderson Harbor, New York. Now let's do some art. What did you use to draw your dragon?
Well, I used the Sharpies over there and some metallic colors and the gold brown.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
And how did you know how to draw a dragon?
I just drew it. I don't really know how I learned how to draw.
Hi, Coco, and how old are you?
Is it okay to say if I'm 10? My birthday's tomorrow, so okay, I'm good. I'm 10 years old, yay!
What did you draw?
I drew a fairy. It's a heart fairy. My inspiration was hearts, all hearts.
And what did you use to draw your heart fairy?
I used Sharpies. I used blue metallic, normal blue, some green metallic, and a lot of pink.
I like all the details. The dots, the hearts, the shoes.
Yeah.
And this is very like anime-ish style as well. Yeah?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of realistic. I like doing...
But isn't that great? We all have different ways of drawing, different styles. It's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing it with us today.
You're welcome.
Feel free to draw along with me. I'm going to be drawing a fairy with kind of like an LOL toyish design. I'm using markers on nice paper. This is a 10-minute craft for big kids. Please feel free to skip over it, but you may also watch it and get ideas. Today we're going to be working with one of my favorite things to use, clay. And this is not regular clay or like Play-Doh. It's the kind of clay that your parents help you bake in the oven once you're done. Now the first rule of clay, after you open it up, split it up into either 2 pieces or 4. I'm going to split mine up into 4 pieces. I'm going to break them apart like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for each piece, I'm going to roll it nice and soft and warm in my hands. Warm it up like it's a little baby bird egg. Make it nice and warm and roll it between both of your hands like this until it gets really smooth. That's just about right. Now we'll move on to the other ones. Ta-da! 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful, darling. Oh, very nice. All right. So now we're going to be making a dragon. This is going to be kind of easy, a little bit, like not too hard, so don't worry. Just try to follow along, or if you want to just make your own kind of design, of course you can do that. You never have to do what I'm doing. This is just to give you guys some ideas. So I'm actually going to be squishing my balls together like this and squeezing it and squeezing it and squeezing it, squeezing it and squeezing it. Then you can use your table or hard surface to make it one big ball. And it's much easier to use the table like this, you guys, than trying to do it in my hands. Also, it doesn't hurt as much because the clay kind of hurts if it's really big and tough. Rolling it around is kind of fun. And it's really working. Check that out. It's looking really good and nice and smooth. We want to kind of get rid of all those little lines you can see. So you can't even tell it was ever broken apart to begin with. Isn't this a pretty color green? It's very bright. I think it's perfect for a dragon. Ta-da! Wow, that looks really good. Now we're gonna start to shape the clay. Also, remember, we have our ruler here. Or not our ruler, our roller. Ruler. Rulers are for something else. We don't need that today. So I'm kind of smoothing it out a little bit, just to show you. It's kind of cool how it does that, right? Anyway, we don't want to make it too flat. So I've kind of got an oval going on now. On one end, this is going to be the dragon head. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start to make a dent with my 2 fingers. I'm squeezing like this. Ah, don't squeeze me, no. Oh, sorry. So now it kind of looks like this. I'm going to shape that. It's almost like I'm making a dinosaur, you guys. Honestly, it's going to look more like a dinosaur at first. And that's okay. Okay, now we're going to stretch out the bottom. This is just the base of the body, so that's what we want. So we kind of want it to look like this. I'm going to turn it over so you can see both sides. Definitely looks like the Loch Ness Monster. Doesn't look like a dragon yet, does it? But it will, I promise. We're going to set that aside. And now we're going to get another color. We set that aside over here. This dragon, to me, definitely needed some purple too. So I opened up some more green clay from another package right here, but I don't need all of it. So I cut it in half. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to break this up into 2 pieces. And I'm going to go roll each piece into its own ball again, just like last time. There's 1. And 2, and I'm going to put them together and make one big ball. The reason I rolled them separately like that is because it's easier to get it soft. The bigger your ball of clay, the longer it takes to soften it up. So when you break it apart into smaller pieces, it makes it a lot softer and easier to work with. So now I'm gonna roll it kind of into a thick snake shape. I'm gonna go back and forth. A little bit longer. All right, so now, do you see? It's about the size of a pencil or a pen. We're gonna put it down, and we're gonna cut it into 4 pieces, but they won't be even pieces. We're cutting 2 arms and 2 legs. First, we'll do the arms. 1, 2. They're about the same size. Now we have this piece left. We're gonna cut it exactly in half. 1, 2. So now we have the base of our body for the dragon, 2 legs, and 2 arms. We're going to connect them. We're going to stretch this one out. This is an arm. You want to make the end kind of round like this so we can add like some nails or claws to it later. It's going to go on like this. Again, I'm doing this so you guys can do this too. We're not going to go too intricate. I'm going to go to the other side. You want to make sure that our dragon is able to eat pizza and things like that, you know, pick it up with his hands, play Nintendo Switch. All the things that dragons like to do, really. I'm kidding. Dragons don't play Nintendo, do they? Yeah, maybe they do. I could be wrong. So now I'm taking my leg and I'm just stretching it a little bit. I'm bending a little bit. And I'm going to bend it kind of like a zigzag. I'm going to put it on. I want to make it so he can sit like this. So there's one. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. I'm going to turn it a bit. And putting on like this. He looks like a dinosaur so far, doesn't he, you guys? Boy, we need to fix him up so he looks like a dragon, a proper dragon. And we're getting there. So now we're going to pick a totally different color. I'm going to go with a sparkly purple. This is really pretty. I like how shiny it is and it sparkles. It looks really cool. It looks really good for anything that's fairy tale themed or dragon themed. And I'm actually going to cut. You see how it has the ridges and the lines in it? I'm going to cut along those lines like this. So I have 4 slices. But then I'm going to put 2 of them over here. And then this one, I'm going to take 2. I'm going to cut them into little pieces like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Who do we appreciate? Our dragon. I'm going to decorate the dragon now with these little pieces. See how they're shaped like this? That was pretty easy, wasn't it? They look like Pez candies. You know those Pez candies you always see? Mom, I want a Pez candy. And they pop out of those little head things. Yeah, those have been around for a long time. What do you think? I think it's starting to look more like a dragon. How about you guys? We're going to go up around his head. Imagine it's like we're putting his hair on. Ooh, wow. Good looking. Ooh la la, fancy, fancy. Now, he needs a longer tail. So we're actually going to use the purple to make a tail. We're going to blend these 2 together like this. Squish, squish, squish. See how I'm squishing it? And you still have an extra piece left that's over here waiting, by the way. Don't use that. Save that for later. So kind of blending it together. I'm using my thumb to smooth this part out like this. You're going to attach it. Ooh, it's a little bit thick, so I'm going to blend it out. We're going to put it on top like this. Squeeze it down. So this is it, guys, so far. Pretty cool, huh? Kind of blend it how you want. And also, you can, like, decorate it. You can put, like, spots on it, stuff like that, or whatever. can have a lot of fun with this. Now, we still have this other piece. Save that for later. I'll show you what to do next. But first, we need to give our beautiful dragon here some eyes so you can see where he's going. Okay, so now we're gonna put our dragon aside over here, and we're gonna make some eyeballs for it. So you'll need some white clay and black clay, or you can pick any two colors you like. You just wanna have two different colors. We're going to pick off a really tiny bit of the white, like this. We're gonna do the rolling trick. Now we're gonna take a piece of that off like that. We're gonna roll it again so it's really tiny. We're gonna take our little speck like that, make a little circle like that. We're gonna set that aside right there. Now we're gonna make one that looks just like it. We want it to be the same size. It's nice and soft. I'm gonna put it right there too. I've got to make sure yeah, that's about right. I'm gonna make sure they peel off the counter okay like that, because sometimes the clay gets sticky and sticks. And usually I use a silicone mat, but today I'm using a counter because I assume most of you guys don't have a silicone mat at home. Or you can ask your parents if they have a cookie baking sheet. So now I'm doing two tiny little black dots, really tiny, and they're gonna sit on top of the white. I gotta make it a little smaller. I'm cutting mine in half, see that? Teeny tiny, very tiny. I'm putting one on top of the one on top of this one. Now I have two eyeballs. I'm gonna bring my dragon back over here. Make sure all my pieces are sticking really well together. I'm gonna put an eyeball here. And another eyeball right here next to it. Oh, it's looking more like a dragon, a goofy dragon. Ooh, he says I'm a little goofy, but that's okay. Awesome. Now we're going to do the nose. So we're gonna get two more black dots for his fiery nostrils. Put one there. He definitely looks like a dinosaur. We're gonna add some other things to him to kind of give him a more dragon look. Cool. And now I've decided I want my dragon to have eyebrows. So I'm gonna take some more black clay and I'm gonna roll them so they look kind of like, instead of circles, they're like teeny tiny, like little baby tiny snakes. I'm gonna make him look like a scared dragon. There's one. So instead of making the eyebrows go up or go down, they're kind of going up, because if they're going down, it looks like he's mad, right? Do this other one right here. Oh, he's really worried. Don't be worried. Okay, pretty cool. Now, we need to make some fire to come out of that mouth. But first, we're gonna use this extra purple we had hiding over here. Going to cut the skinniest pieces you can, really skinny like this. You can also ask for help, or you can roll lines like we rolled for the eyebrows. That's also a really good idea. I'm cutting up some pieces. They're like little rectangle shapes like this. And I'm gonna put them right here on the feet. And on the other side too. They kind of look like purple toenails. Now we're going to make some fire. So I have yellow clay and orange clay I'm going to be using today. So this is going to be just right. I've got my two little cubes. I'm going to squish them together and I'm going to roll them into a ball, just like we were practicing before. Don't worry, I ripped it there, but that's okay. Just kind of fold it over and roll it again, squish it back together. So now I'm going to cut out a shape like a triangle. And I'm going to twist it and bend it over. I'm going to go on the end and I'm going to cut some little pieces out like this to make more triangle shapes. Pull those out. Again, if yours doesn't look like this, don't even worry about it. So now I'm gonna bring my dragon back over here. Definitely think it's like a baby dragon. I'm gonna put the fire right under here. We're gonna connect it to the bottom of his head, like that. We're gonna make sure, I'm gonna press his front paws down like this so it's helping him stand, and we're gonna tilt his head back a little bit more because he's kind of heavy. We're gonna go like this. What do you think? Oh, he's cute. He's so cute. Aw. He's like, look, I'm breathing fire. It kind of looks more like a floppy fire tongue, doesn't it? That's funny. Now, when I bake him in the oven, I'm going to be sure to tilt him so that the fire bakes like this instead of being like that. Another thing you can use if you happen to have it, I usually like to get a paintbrush, and this is a special gloss that you can get at the art store that you coat onto the clay. You can always coat that if you want. It helps keep the pieces together after it's baked, because sometimes if the pieces aren't squished together well enough, they might fall off later. But that's also optional. Now I'm going to be putting my dragon on a nice sheet with a silicone mat on it, and it was going to bake. I'm going to put it at 265 degrees, and I'm going to bake this guy for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, I'm going to check him with a toothpick, and if he's still a little bit soft, I'm going to bake him for 5 more minutes, but no more than 25 minutes. That I'm putting my clay dragon in my pan like this. With this, I sprayed the edge of this with canola oil. I sprayed the bottom with canola oil. If you don't have a silicone mat, you can do that and it'll be okay. And I'm sticking the tongue of him, like the fire, I mean, it does look like a tongue. I'm putting the fire on the edge so that it actually bakes this way instead of falling down. So my dragon is going in the oven now at 265 degrees for 20 minutes. If in 20 minutes it's still slightly soft when I check him with a toothpick, I'll add 5 more minutes to the clock. But you do not want to go longer than 25 minutes, no matter what. Because even if it's not fully cooked, it'll still be good enough. What you don't want to happen, and what will happen, is the clay will turn brown if it gets overcooked. All right, the dragon has been baked and he came out awesome. I baked him for 25 minutes. He did need that extra 5 minutes. He's still got a little softness to him, but not very much. He's really just right. And check it out. His fire looks like it's right in the air there. Isn't that cool? Boy, he looks really great. Now that is cool. Definitely inspired by fairy tales right there. Ooh, I just love dragons.